All right, folks, welcome in. Of course, I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Today we have some news. Shocker, we're going to have a lot of news moving forward, so I hope you guys are ready for it. Trent McDuffie is not only a Ram, because we already talked about the trade, he is now the highest paid cornerback in NFL history. The Rams and McDuffie agreed to a 4-year deal worth up to $124 million and a whopping $100 million guaranteed. Now, this contract is absolutely insane, and I don't know what the look of it is. It's a 4-year deal, but, you know, are there any void years there? I mean, this is the stuff that we're going to have to wait for. And keep in mind, I'm going to look at it now, but I'm almost positive that the Rams can't even comment on this. The Rams social media can't even acknowledge this because of the silly rules of the season starting on Wednesday. So everyone knows. Everyone knows McDuffie's a Ram. You know, it's being reported by everybody. They haven't even reported the trade yet. Like, the Rams can't say anything about that because it's not the official league year, which I think at some point we got to figure that out because that's just absolutely ridiculous. Now, I see people in the comment section saying they have no money. I'm telling you now, they're going to be fine. This extension should not hurt them. I mean, think about this, right? If the Rams are all in on 2026, which they are, and they get McDuffie, why would they run to sign him to a deal that pushes his cap higher than what he's getting paid right now? Much higher. It might be higher. It might end up being lower than the 5th-year option that he was going to play on at a $13 million clip. Either way, it's not going to be $31 million this year. So we have to understand the difference between that. It's $31 million average annual value, but that doesn't mean it will be $31 million, okay, in 2026 against the cap. So that's the thing. We need to see how this looks. We need to see how this is structured. I would imagine that this is, and they're calling it an extension, right? This isn't a new contract. This is an extension of the previous deal, which the previous deal is the $13 million 5th-year option. So it could very well start after this season. Like, and it is. It's not, they're not signing him for this year. They might give him a bonus or something, but I don't know. All right, here's my thing, okay? I don't think McDuffie is worth that money, but the Rams don't have a choice when they trade for him in that way, and it's kind of overblown because while he might not be worth that money, it's going to look a lot better once Quinion Mitchell and Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon get paid. So I feel like the Rams are trying to get out in front. They've done this before. They paid Jared Goff before Dak Prescott could get paid. He was part of that draft class. You want to be kind of the first. I mean, you want to make sure you know who you're paying, but you want to be first because if you're first, then that means you kind of dictate the price. You set the price before it starts going through the roof. It's why, yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't want to pay that much money, but like, for instance, I always look at it like this. First off, I still, to this day, have no idea why Ronald Acuna Jr. signed the contract he did with the Atlanta Braves. It was a total fleece job by the Atlanta Braves. They got him on such a deal, and I know he's had injuries since. I guess it looks good for him, but he should have gotten paid way more. But the Braves got a discount because they signed Acuna so cheap it's such a young age, right? And we've seen this before. If you sign guys cheap You sign guys quickly. You sign them as soon as possible. You can get deals. If McDuffie ends up being dominant, okay, he ends up being the 2023 All-Pro that we are hoping him to be, then this is going to look like an incredible deal because he very well could have gotten $35 to $40 million if one of those guys got paid. And where's the argument? Why does he get more money? It's very simple. Trent McDuffie has all pros. I told you guys by name, all pros matter. It's always going to allow guys like Tre'Davious White to find jobs. Even when he's not playing his best football, he's still able to find a job because teams know, well, he was an all-pro in 2019. Doesn't matter that it's 2025 or 2026. He was an all-pro in 2019. He still has it. So the thing here is that Trent McDuffie, you're getting at $31 million average annual value. I believe if they had waited, one of those teams, I'm not saying Seattle has a deal in place right now with Devin Witherspoon. It's about to come out or anything. But one of those teams who has a better cornerback would have been signed to much higher. This is just to get past Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner. He's the highest paid cornerback. Colts have him. Yeah, we know that. This is now the highest paid cornerback. It does not mean that you're the best cornerback. It just means you were the last really, really good cornerback to be paid. The highest paid cornerback is going to be the next signing. Is it going to be Quinton Mitchell? Is it going to be Devin Witherspoon? Right? Like, who knows? But the point being is that this is always going to change. So don't look too much into it. It is a lot of money. I think the Rams do know what they're doing. This all seems like an overpay to a degree. But I think the Rams know what they're doing. I'm going to trust the Rams know what they're doing. You don't put out all those assets and sign this guy to a 4-year, $124 million deal without knowing full well that you have a plan of attack with this guy. Okay? They clearly know what they're doing with McDuffie because they would not have done this. They're not a team that is like all in on one player. Okay? They're not expecting McDuffie to change their entire defense around on a whim. They know they still need to add some help. Arguably, linebacker. Arguably, cornerback. Well, not arguably. Definitely cornerback. Arguably, linebacker. Arguably, another edge. Arguably, another interior defensive lineman. Maybe another safety. They still have things that they want to add. But this does put them in a position where now we don't have to worry. We have our franchise cornerback, and they believe in him. And on the level of McVay's excitement, like Jay Glazer, when he was like reporting this, McVay's apparently really exciting. Like he's really excited about this. So we'll see. I mean, me personally, because you guys obviously want my humble opinion. You want to know, like, I'm not being a homer here. I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have traded for McDuffie. I wouldn't have given up all that. And I didn't think it was an overpay for the value. It's just I personally wouldn't have done that. And I would not have paid Trent McDuffie $31 million a year. That's just me. But the Rams have been right, and I've been wrong many times. Like, there have been times I've been right, like George Kittle. But there have been times I've been wrong. In that same draft, I thought, drafting John Johnson over the cornerback from Iowa, who's blanking. I'm totally blanking on him right now. Desmond. Yeah, look at my brain just turning to mush as I get older. But anyway, I didn't like the John Johnson pickup. I didn't like the Tutu Atwell one. I learned to grow on it. I liked Creed Humphrey a little bit more, actually a lot more. I didn't like Atwell at all, really, in the draft. Grew to like him. Ernest Jones, I thought was slow, and grew to like him. There have been times where they've drafted, like I thought Terrell Burgess was going to be a star, and I was wrong. And I thought Jordan Fuller, didn't have the deep speed to really work in the NFL as a safety, and I was wrong. And so they've gotten things where I just totally misfired, and that happens. I hope to God that I am wrong about this. I'm not sitting here saying I'm panicking. I'm actually kind of excited. And it's one of those things. I'm excited because actions speak louder than words, and the Rams' actions are telling me straight up that they think this guy is a game changer. They think this guy is going to be, well, you know, I'm sorry I'm going to say this, Tyrann Mathieu. I think they look at him like he's going to be their honey badger, okay? He can do it all. I also think they kind of see him as a cornerback one. But that said, I do think they kind of view him as kind of that, you know, straw that stirs the drink in the secondary. And I think when you have a player like that and you have the defense that you have, I don't know, man. I feel really good about it. Like, and that's the weird thing. This is different than how I normally feel. Normally, the Rams do something that I wouldn't do, and I'm like, but I'm not feeling like super great about it. I'm not super excited. This is getting me excited, and this isn't even something I would do. So this is what happens. You don't get this trust from me or the fan base if you're Billy Devaney and Steve Spagnuolo in St. Louis. You don't get this trust for me if you're Jeff Fisher and Les Snead. You get this trust from me when you're Sean McVay and Les Snead. You've gone to 2 Super Bowls. You've won a Super Bowl. You've been in the playoffs 7 of the 9 seasons. Yeah, you get this trust from me when you're in that position. And the Rams are right now in that position. It's exactly what I said, you know, in years past. If the Sosar Rams took Terrence Ferguson, chalk him up, he is going to be a bust. There's going to be no development, and he's going to go somewhere else and maybe catch on somewhere else. This Rams team, I trust them to develop those guys. That's the difference. That is the situation we're talking about. That is essentially what we're looking at with this tenure, okay? With this brass, with this brain trust. So I do trust them with McDuffie. I do. And I think they have a plan. And I want to throw something out here because immediately after his running mate decided to sign this deal with the Rams, his running mate, Jalen Watson from the Chiefs, tweets out kind of this winking little emoji, grin, whatever you want to call it. I'm not too fond of the Twitter emojis. They do some weird, it's kind of hard to see. But anyway, it's a grin. Here's the thing. What I'm really fascinated with is that McDuffie is a man coverage cornerback. And I think predominantly more of a slot, but obviously they're going to use him as CB1 if they're paying him $31 million a year. You don't pay a slot corner $31 million a year. You just don't. So if this is $31 million a year player, he's going to be your number one corner. The number one corner on your team is pretty much a man coverage corner at the end of the day. That's what he is. And I find it interesting because I started to wonder, could we see a switch? And I'm not asking for a full 180, but could we see even a little bit of a switch from the soft shell zone coverage? Could we see a shift from that bend don't break? Did the glass shatter in Sean McVay's head watching the cornerbacks in the postseason and be like, you know what? I love our safeties. Forbes has talent. He's probably not a starter, but he's got talent. We'll keep him around. I like Landman, like Spates, like Dolak. Love our defensive line. I don't love our cornerbacks, and I don't love our scheme right now. See, the whole point of the bend don't break is to slow down an offense, make them go the distance, make them take time off the clock, and then force them to kick a field goal. So when you're going down the field and you're scoring touchdowns and you have the best offense in the league and you're scoring 7, you're scoring 14, you're scoring 21, they're scoring 3, 6, and 9, right? And the big thing here is when you're in that type of defense, the immediate thing The 100% factor is that you are trying to limit explosive plays. Okay? That's what you're trying to do. When you're playing that scheme, you are trying to eliminate explosive plays from being happened against you. Okay? Now, when you get into the postseason, things change. And you need an eraser. And the reality is, if you don't have that eraser, like a Christian Gonzalez, the best receivers in the league, the best players in the league, who very well could be residing on some of the best teams in the league, will make you pay. I mean, just look, right? Jackson Smith and Jigba is a perfect example of this. Okay? He's too good of a route runner, where if you're just playing that soft shell zone coverage, right, and everything has to be perfect, he can still find his way, find the soft spot in the zone, and attack it. He is a technician as a route runner. And this is what the Rams, I think the glass shattered in McVay's head. I was like, I think he basically said, no. We put together the offense to beat them. You could say the defense definitely carried us last postseason, but this postseason, we needed them to step up. We needed them to get one stop, and they made Sam Darnold look great. Okay? And Sam Darnold's a good quarterback, no doubt about it. But how great is Sam Darnold? Do we look at Sam Darnold and say he's great? Sam Darnold had some really good games this year. But I couldn't help but think when I was watching the Super Bowl that Sam Darnold had the best game of his career against the Rams, and that's not who he is more often than not. So, here's the deal, okay? Jalen Watson had the whatever the hell it's called. I can't even speak, folks. This is great. He had the grin emoji, right? That's all he tweeted out after he got paid. Now, this could mean one of two things or three things. First off, this could mean nothing. This is if you want to be an attention type of person, right? And you think about this. You want to be the attention guy, and you are an NFL player and you haven't tweeted in a while. Your running mate gets paid. You're a free agent. This is easy attention. Now, I'm talking about it on my show. Countless other people are talking about it on theirs. People are tweeting about it. I mean, come on. It's so easy to pull that attention, right? So easy. So here's the thing. Jalen Watson could have just been saying it to get a rise at people. He has every right to do that. Number two, he could very well be hinting at signing with the Los Angeles Rams and joining his teammate Trent McDuffie in LA. 3, okay? He very well might not have liked the way the Chiefs treated Trent McDuffie and not paying him. And so now he's like, interesting. Now he's officially gone. I don't know. What I will say is Jalen Watson, the reason why this is so fascinating to me is Watson also really fits a man coverage scheme, okay? I'm not saying that he can't play zone. Obviously, he can. It's why he was on my list to begin with. But he's considered more of a man coverage cornerback. So I think it would be really fascinating to go out and get 2 cornerbacks that have plenty of Super Bowl experience, playoff experience, and they both played in man coverage and were really good in man coverage. Now, I said it when they traded for him. I thought, Watson was better than McDuffie this past year. I don't think that's a crazy hot take. I mean, I think it's honestly clear he was better. It's just really fascinating to me, this potential, man coverage aspect of it, because if they are switching to man coverage, that defense is going to be a lot more interesting. Now, in case you're wondering, Jalen Watson in man coverage had a 74.5 passer rating targeted. It was actually the lowest of the three on the Chiefs that were qualified 20% of 727 snaps. Noel Williams was the best, only gave up 2 catches on 10 targets in 273 coverage snaps. Trent McDuffie had 404 coverage snaps and gave up a 72 passer rating, targeted passer rating, and Jalen Watson gave up a 74.5 target passer rating. McDuffie only gave up 1 touchdown in man coverage last year. Jalen Watson gave up 0. Jalen Watson gave up 14 catches on 24 targets in man coverage for 237 yards. So he gave up the big play, but he was still pretty damn effective. Pass breakup and interception. McDuffie, however, this is really fascinating. Almost the same amount of targets. Trent McDuffie, they both gave up the same amount of receptions. McDuffie had 23 targets to Jalen Watson's 24. Watson gave up 16.9 yards per reception. McDuffie gave up 9. Now, to be fair, McDuffie was also playing mainly in the slot, so that has something to do with it. But what's really interesting, and this is something I want to point out, is that technically, right, we had, let's see, what was it? Oh, never mind. I was going to say, yeah, never mind. So then, okay, then zone coverage, right? Jalen Watson, 61.2 targeted passer rating in zone coverage. Trent McDuffie, 107.3. Okay. Noel Williams, 108. Like, I like Noel Williams a lot in the draft. He was somebody that I really wanted. I had him mocked to the Rams. But he's definitely a better man coverage cornerback than he is in the zone. In the zone, Trent McDuffie gave up the most yards of the Kansas City Chiefs cornerbacks, 202. He gave up 20 of 27 targets. Jalen Watson gave up 18 catches on 31 targets. So what I'm saying here is that there's some scheme versatility because both can play in zone. They can play in man. They've had experience doing that. But there is a real argument that Trent McDuffie, if they move to more of a man coverage thing going on, like, it works better for McDuffie. It honestly makes me wonder, because if you're going to pay him $31 million a year and his numbers in zone coverage aren't really the best, well, that's interesting. Another thing that's interesting, in 221 coverage snaps, Jalen Watson gave up 1 catch for 21 yards. He had a 39.6 targeted passer rating, okay? So that's something to keep in mind there. Man coverage, he was really, really good in 2024. Trent McDuffie was also good in a sense, but he gave up 5 touchdowns in 2024 in man coverage. Now, he had 22 catches given up on 40 targets, so we saw more man coverage. In zone coverage in 2024, Jalen Watson struggled, and so did... Well, no, McDuffie was actually better in zone coverage, 79.8 target passer rating. But the year Trent McDuffie was an all-pro, what did that look like, right? The first team all-pro, not second team, but first team. What did that look like? Well, we go back to 2023, and we're going to look at the man coverage aspect of this, okay? So you had L'Jarius Sneed still on the team at that point. Man coverage reps, we actually saw Jalen Watson have the most man coverage percentage, which is 38.4. He had 310 coverage snaps, and 119 of them were in man coverage. He gave up 10 catches on 21 targets. That's a 47.6 reception percentage, which is really good. But he had 100.1 target pass rating. He had 5 pass breakups, but he gave up 2 touchdowns, right? Then you look at Trent McDuffie. He gave up 17 catches on 24 targets, and he had 106.4 targeted passer rating. Here's what I'm going to say, okay? I have a feeling, as much as the Chiefs get their credit, I don't really think they get criticized a lot. And I don't know if McDuffie was entirely playing, he was being utilized the right way. And I think the Rams adding McDuffie, and let's say they get a Jalen Watson tomorrow, right? That's a better defense than what the Chiefs have had. I don't care what anyone says. I really do believe that. I think the back end of that secondary is tight. I think the cornerbacks, if you have Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie and you have Quentin Lake and the star, you could argue, I mean, the Chiefs have better linebackers, but no, I think I really, I'm hoping, but I'm also believing that Trent McDuffie is going to be better with the Rams. And there's some inconsistencies in those numbers, right? But Watson has been kind of the hiding in plain sight, underrated, really solid corner. All right. I'm not going to say I'm hoping for Watson because I'm really a fan of Job. I'm really a fan of Jamel Dean. I like Monteric Brown, but Watson's good, man. Watson isn't just, he was on the Chiefs and he won Super Bowls. No. Watson's actually really good. And I don't think people realize either Watson's 6'2". Like, it's actually really funny to me. I can't tell you how many times I've heard scrappy when people are describing Watson. And like, he's like this short, like, nimble, like that's not who he is. He's not like filled out entirely 200 plus pounds, but he's hovering around 190 something, but he's 6'2". I don't know, man. I think Watson would be a slam dunk. And another thing, by the way, I am going to put this up because I want to get your thoughts here. Although I got to cover this somehow. How do I cover this? Let's see. You know what? I am just going to screenshot this because you've already seen it. Those of you who have seen it, don't say anything. Okay, we're going to do something a little different here, right? I did a blind analysis. I'm just very curious to see what you guys are going to pick. So let me put this thing up. I just screenshot it. We're going to throw this thing up on the screen. And, okay, here we go. All right. Those of you who know, don't say anything, but everyone, okay? I want you to drop A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or H, and let me know which cornerback you would want based on just this. No more context, no film, just these numbers. No age, no height, no weight, no 40 time, just these numbers. And I want to know what you guys would go with. And I'll tell you exactly who it is, but I want to see what you guys would go with. So throughout this show, okay, I'm going to leave this up here. Throughout this show, I want you guys to drop that in the comment section, and I will tell you exactly who each player is. Okay? We're going to keep going, and I'll come back to this in, let's say, 10 minutes. So 9:04 Eastern time. And I am going to come back to this. Okay? So keep it going. I'm going to keep this up. We're just going to stay in a small screen. Sorry for those that don't love that. Well, I don't care. I mean, it is what it is. But here's the thing, okay? Tomorrow, I think the Rams are going to be loud. They're going to be proud. They're going to go after their corner. I don't think for a second. Les Snead, we've talked about how he has all these different tells, right? Like, oh, yeah, the all-pro comment. That was obvious, right? We knew Trent McDuffie was the worst kept secret ever. He's also had comments multiple times about how they don't want to be desperate in the draft, okay? Guys, they benched Forbes in the championship game. They're not going to start him next year. He's going to be on this roster. For the people that are like, he shouldn't even be on the roster, that's ridiculous. But they're going to go after somebody. Like, they're going to sign another corner. Okay? Okello is not one of the cornerbacks on this list. I thought about including him because I wanted to see something, but you know what? No. This is just free agent corners, and I'm just very curious. And I'm going to, just looking through these right now. This always fascinates me. I love these blind tests Because people will tell you who they want, and then they get something like this, and then it turns out that they didn't actually want the guy that much. So, all right. Can we even afford Watson? Yes, absolutely. The Rams can afford Watson. Let's see here. We got, all right, so we started off E and G, E, A and E, E, G, easily, G, D, A. Let's see. A and E, F, D, G, G, F, G, D, G, F, E, F, F or G. Give me A because elite tackle percentage. No, that's missed tackle. That's missed tackle. That is not tackle percentage. That is missed tackle percentage. H, G, G and E, C, G, E, G, E. All right, I'll stop. Someone's saying make a poll. The problem is I don't think they're going to let me put that many options in said poll. Okay. So, we could do something like this. There's only 4 options. How about this? I'll break them up into quadrants. So we'll do A, B, C, D, E, F. No, let's do. We'll do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So you got to go with your number 1 at that point. So we'll see how this thing goes. But I did just drop the poll. And we got E and F is winning right now. I'm really fascinated to see what you guys think. And this is probably the worst way to do it. I wish I could go. Yeah, go with your number 1. Go with your number 1. The quadrants have nothing to do. Like, it's not like, oh, I like G and H more. No. Take the number 1. I would do this way better if they let me do it way better. Unfortunately, this is the best I can do. I can't have, 8 different options. So we got 39% E and F, 34% GH. Now, I'm probably going to try, because right now, E and F are winning. And I don't want this to take all show. Okay? I think I'm going to go with... Let's just do, real quick, let's do singles. We'll do A, B, C, D, and then E, F, G, H, okay? And I want rapid fire poll voting. Right now, E and F are going to win. I'm going to end this poll. So E and F won. Okay. Now we're going to do a quick singles one. Probably should have started off with this. Let's do best cornerback from this list. Okay. So we're going to do A, B, C, and D. And then we'll do our other poll, and the winner of those two will battle it out. And I'm just very curious. Again, vote for your favorite. So out of those 4, A, B, C, and D, which corner do you want the most? because all of these guys are free agents. The Rams could get any one of these guys, and they're all guys I've talked about more than once. And I'm going to give you guys some time, but I'm very curious because it's really fascinating when you do these kind of blind operations, you know? Is $100 million guaranteed overpaying? I'm having mixed opinions. $100 million guaranteed just means that like you're locked in the next 4 years. Like it's really going to be hard to get out of that. I don't know what the structure is though. Like, is this front loaded? Like what is, how many, void years are there? Like we don't know. So until I know the structure of said deal, I can't really say too much on that end. My guess is it probably has a lot of void years. Like maybe 3 or 4. Maybe none. Who knows? Another thing that I want to just kind of mention is if the Rams let Matthew Stafford walk when he retires and they don't go after another big quarterback and they just go with the draft, you do realize they can take a young quarterback and they can take advantage of the rookie quarterback contract. And this isn't going to really hurt their cap at all. Really would not be surprised if that's what they end up doing. It looks like B is going to win. So I'm going to end this poll here. B is going to win. So B moves on to the final round. And then we're going to now go with the bottom 4. So again, if you could just participate real quick, it's going to be E, F, G, and H. So B has officially moved on to the finals. Okay. And I will let you guys know as soon as we figure it out. Okay. I'm curious where you guys are at. I don't know. Ooh, G is in the lead. Now E's in the lead. Those guys are just going back and forth. Damn. Yeah. I like this, man. We got to do more polls. Pick the best that you feel is the best. Because the eye test, everyone has a different eye. The stat test, well, when you're looking at this, I mean, some people value other things. I'm very curious. And I'm going to pull this thing quickly because I don't want to stall too long. So everyone get your final votes in. Final votes. Let's say we'll close it at 70 votes. We're almost there. 5 more votes. Oh, there we are. There it is. Okay, so E has officially won. Okay. So E won the vote. Now, E and G had a good battle there. Okay, now we're going to do we got B take it on E. And then I'll tell you everybody who's here. Yes, PBU equals pass breakup. Wow. This thing's a damn landslide. This is a freaking landslide. It's not even close. B is getting destroyed. Okay, E is going to win this pretty freaking easily, so we're not going to sit here. So, E is your winner, and guess what, folks? I am going to take a screenshot so we have it in front of us. Visual aids are always nice. Okay. what I came away with when I was doing this, and I'm sure some of you have ideas. I'm sure some of you have an idea of what's going on, and you know who's who. Maybe. Boom. There it is. Plain as day. E is Jalen Watson, who we were just talking about. I did not rig anything. You guys voted on it. Jalen Watson. I mean, you guys said it. You want Jalen Watson and McDuffie to reunite. So, B was Josh Jobe, got to the finals. And kind of looking through this here, we'll go back to, let's see. Where is the results? We had, so in first place is Jalen Watson, based on the most votes. Second place is Josh Jobe. Third place was Jamel Dean. Fourth place was Monteric Brown. Fifth place was Tariq Woolen. Sixth place was Alante Taylor. No idea what you're thinking there. But hey, to each their own. 8 touchdowns, over 100 passer rating when targeted. What was it? And then 7th place was Eric Stokes, and the last place was Cordell Flott. So yeah. And this is why, by the way, guys, like, I like doing this because I just saw people in the comment section who have told me that they want certain player. And I remembered that certain player that they wanted. And they just said 2 different things. This is what happens. This is, I mean, this could happen to anybody. We'll do more of these because these are fun. But I like this because there's no bias. You scrap the helmet off. You don't even see the player's face. You don't know the player's name. You don't know how they play. You don't. Film matters. I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't. I watch tape. But that said, okay, it's not the end-all be-all. And stats do matter. And people that want to act like stats don't matter, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you see. First off, I want to show each glaring thing per each stat because we're talking about cornerbacks. We talked about McDuffie. Now we're talking about what tomorrow could bring. And there could be a cornerback that's not on this list that the Rams go after tomorrow. But most glaring thing I see, 8 touchdowns. That is Alante Taylor, okay? Most glaring thing I see, 22.4 missed tackle rate. That is Tariq Woolen. Those things cannot fly in LA. Okay? Just can't happen. So the reception percentage looks fine. I'm not going crazy about any of them. I will say Jobe was targeted more than anybody and really stood his ground. The yards, I don't care about. 597 yards is the most. And that's really not that bad. 8 touchdowns is insane. And it's so much more than everybody else. Then you look at the interceptions. There's not a lot of ball hawks in this free agency. Now, I do believe we could see more interceptions on that Rams defense. I mean, after all, nobody has forced more interceptions on a pressure than Byron Young and Jared Verse since they've entered the league. That's something to keep in mind. Pass breakups, okay? 9 pass breakups. The most on this list is between Jobe and Monteric Brown. The lowest targeted passer rating is Jamel Dean at 47.7. You see the missed tackle percentage, okay? That's good. 8.3 is sensational. 5.8 is a whole other level. That is kind of where I'm coming from with Jalen Watson. He doesn't run a crazy 40 time. He's not incredibly explosive, but he is a very good athlete. Coming out of Washington State, he tested very well. Crazy vertical, really good broad jump. He's 4.5 speed. Shout out to Nakua Matatas over on my Discord for throwing that RAS score out there. I saw you, and I wanted to give you some credit. So, yeah. That's where we're at on this. I understand there's a lot of people that like Woolen's coverage ability. And I understand that like his size. I'm not saying you're wrong on that. But you're going to have to pay Woolen the Seahawks price tag. He just was on a Super Bowl winning team, a defense that was considered the best in the league and had a nickname. He's going to get paid a lot of money. You don't see a young 6'4", 200-something pound corner that has those numbers, because the numbers are pretty damn good until you get to the missed tackle percentage. I didn't put penalties in here. There's still a lot of penalties to go around for these guys, but yeah. A deal with Watson, I mean, it's got to be around 12 to 15 million a year, which I think is very doable. I don't think he's going to get anything crazy. I mean, he could. It's possible. This is great. Shout out to Jason OTC. We just got an update on the Cam Curl contract. So we now know what the Cam Curl extension looks like. Cam Curl's cap hit in 2026 is only $8.4 million. So it's higher than I initially anticipated, but still really good. There's no void years. It's going to be 2026. It's an 8.4 cap hit, 13.9 million cap hit in 2027, and a 13.6 in 2028. There is zero guaranteed money in 2028, meaning the Rams can get out of that with nothing to worry about. And there's $7 million in guaranteed money, so half of his contract is guaranteed in 2027. So the Cam Curl stuff is really good. Okay, the contract is really good. It's really well positioned for the Rams to do some things that they want to do. This is what we're talking about. This is the stuff that matters, okay? This is where having somebody like a Tony Pastors, like, it matters. So, yeah, the Cam Curl news is great. Is he on the books yet? I see the contract, but it doesn't seem like they have added him to the books. Don't believe they've added him yet. But yeah, the contract is already, like, the structure looks good. The structure definitely looks good. McDuffie was $13.6 million against the cap. I do wonder if that's going to go down or going to go up a little bit. It really depends. But Cameron Curl is going to be a Los Angeles Ram until 2029, it looks like. You know, hey, let's go. Alec Pierce can still get paid. Y'all, free agency hasn't started yet. Free agency kicks off tomorrow at noon. I'll see. So James Palmer confirmed that the $13.6 million cap hit that McDuffie carried this season will automatically change at the start of the new league year with this contract. So yeah, it's probably going to be higher than 13.6. That's definitely fair. I'm really curious on what that structure looks like. When the Rams said they weren't desperate to find Matthew Stafford's successor, that kind of told me everything. Like those reports that are coming out and saying, Yeah, the Rams aren't worried about Matthew Stafford's successor. They're not stressing it. That just tells me they're going to draft somebody in the draft, hope they hit, develop, and then they have a rookie quarterback contract. And if they don't, they can look at it next year. Yeah. Anyway, I've had this graphic up for a while, but lastly, A is Tariq Woolen, B is Josh Jobe, C is Monteric Brown, D is Alontae Taylor, E is Jalen Watson, F is Eric Stokes, G is Jamel Dean, and H is Cordell Flott. My biggest issue with Flott, by the way, I like the player a lot. I wanted to trade for him at the deadline. Flott doesn't have the size I'm looking for. He's a little thin. And he's an ankle biter tackler. And I don't know, man. That missed tackle percentage is high. 15.9 is too high for my liking. Dean is one of the best tackling corners in the league. And of course, he's one of the best zone corners in the league. And he had the lowest targeted passer rating in the league. F is Eric Stokes. And Stokes just hasn't done it for a long time. Like, this is his first really good season. Is this who he is? Or was this like take the money and run type of year? But he was doing it on the Raiders, to be fair. And he was the number one cornerback, was only targeted 50 times, meaning they didn't want to throw his way. E, like I said, what have I not said at this point that needs to be said about Jalen Watson? The dude's a stud, right? The 5.8 missed tackle percentage is insane. And it's exactly what the Rams are looking for. 12.5 is too high. But to be fair, Alontae Taylor was over 20 last year. Taylor just gives up way too many touchdowns, gives up a lot of yards after the catch, which I don't like. And then cornerback C is Monteric Brown. And it's not to say that he can't play in man coverage. I believe he can. But he's predominantly a zone corner, right? So, I mean, they could stick with their soft zone and just do something weird and have Trent McDuffie. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but Monteric Brown in man coverage is not terrible, but he's not like great either. Like, he had 108.9 targeted passer rating, but then in zone coverage, in man coverage, he had that. In zone coverage, he had a 45.8. He's a better zone coverage corner. If you could somehow find a way to get both, like Monteric Brown and Jalen Watson, or both like Jalen Watson and Josh Jobe, like, that would be so sick. That would be awesome. What about Seattle? We're looking at Woolen. Woolen in man coverage, a 59.2 target passer rating. Josh Jobe, a 55.6. Josh Jobe is actually insane in man coverage. 18 catches given up and 41 targets. A 43.9 reception percentage. He was balling out this year. Like, I love Josh Jobe, man. I really think that's who the Rams are going to sign, but don't rule out Watson, especially after that tweet. Could be nothing, but it could be something, you know? Who else in man coverage do we want to look at? Talked about Monteric Brown. Eric Stokes. Stokes is 61. Target passer rating of 48.5. Reception percentage. That's some good stuff. This is, again, if they decide to go man coverage heavy. Okay? What about Alontae Taylor? Alontae Taylor is not a fit at all. I don't understand this. 103.5. I don't know why people say Alontae Taylor. Gave up 3 touchdowns in man coverage. I don't know. I don't see it. Cordell Flott, 72.3 target passer rating, 51.4 reception percentage. Pretty good stuff there. Jamel Dean in man coverage, a 56.5. Excuse me, that's zone coverage. 54.1 target passer rating in zone coverage. He gave up 6 catches, in man coverage. Jamel Dean, in 106 coverage snaps this year, gave up 6 catches. He can play man coverage. I'm not worried about that. Damn. Okay. I guess it'd be like that. That's crazy. Oh, my bad, guys. I was in zone I was in zone coverage. I don't know why it didn't flip-flop. Josh Jobe has an 87.4 target passer rating in man coverage. Tariq Woolen has a 54.4. Tariq Woolen gave up 6 catches. Job gave up 11 on 23 targets. It's interesting. Okay, now let's go back here because that was zone. I love how they didn't like change it for me. So Flott in man coverage, I had that right. So I think it was just that. Okay, so to make a long story short, oh yeah, Stokes wasn't as great in man coverage. Didn't play as much man, mainly zone. To make a long story short, Jalen Watson's really good in man coverage. Trent McDuffie's really good in man coverage. Job and Woolen are solid in man coverage, but are better in zone. Monteric Brown is definitely just a zone corner. Not saying he could never play man, but I wouldn't want him over there. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. The best fit for the Rams from a physical standpoint, from tackling, being able to play man and zone coverage, it's Jalen Watson. You also add some length on the outside. Jalen Watson being 6'2". What's the arm length for him? Oh yeah, 32.25-inch arms. So yeah, there you go. I think it makes sense. But guys, I'm going to be happy regardless of who if the Rams get one of Jalen Watson, Josh Jobe, Monteric Brown, and Jamel Dean, I'm going to be ecstatic. Kidding me? I'm going to be hyped. How tall is Dean? Dean is... I'll get to super soon, guys. Thank you for your patience. Dean is 6'1", 206. I mean, he's literally like Jalen Ramsey size. I mean, Dean had arguably the best season, but it was the injuries that are scaring people away. And they look at the targets and they're like, well, he wasn't as battle tested as some. Yet they weren't throwing to him. He gave up 6 catches in man coverage the whole year. And he's a fantastic tackler, man. I mean, the best fit by far, if they're going to go in more man coverage heavy, Watson, well, Dean is the best. Watson, and then Jobe, in my opinion. My issue with Woolen is the tackling and the penalty issues and how he kind of loses it in games. I understand why people want Woolen, but he's not everybody's cup of tea. I'll tell you that much. I've heard this. You could be onto something. Never say never. Never say never on that. Absolutely. The Rams are one of the hottest places to go. They're going to have enough money if they want to do some stuff. They still haven't moved money around, by the way. They can still do that. The Rams are going to be fine. They can get any cornerback they want. The question is, are they willing to spend? And how much are they willing to spend? You know? So that's the question. Matthew, thank you for the 5. A lot, but dude goes and balls out. If maybe a deal, if other cornerbacks get way more. Yeah, no, it definitely, getting McDuffie now protects you from spending 37 to 40 million on McDuffie later. If you didn't give him a deal, and this offseason, he's playing on the tag, or not the tag, the 5th-year option, and you're thinking, okay, we'll give him a deal midway through the year. Why wait? If you already know you're going to give him a deal, then just give him the deal. Because once Devin Witherspoon comes in, and now he's commanding 34, and then Quinion Mitchell comes in, he's commanding 37, And then all of a sudden, you have Christian Gonzalez at 40. Guess what McDuffie's going to want? 41. That's how this thing works. So, yeah, it's a great point. Vic, appreciate the super. Does this affect Puka's contract? No. They already have that money allocated. Puka Nacua is going to get paid. They're not going to move off him. Zaylor Swift, thank you for the 2. Give me G, please. That is Jamel Dean. Rams should add Kelsey. Hot take. Kelsey is a guy that I definitely think would have been a fun run with the Rams. I think he would have been a great fit. The problem is they already signed Higbee. And while they could add another tight end, I just don't know if I see Travis Kelce. All that comes with Travis Kelce with the whole Taylor Swift stuff, and you're already in LA. I don't know if they would want that. Personally, I also don't think they would care because Travis Kelce can still play at a high level. He's a really good football player. But they brought back Higbee. So I don't really see that. I think they're more likely to draft a tight end. But who knows? G would be a perfect fit. Jamel Dean is a perfect fit. Like, perfect fit. Matthew with the broccoli. Appreciate you. Thank you for the 5. That was fun. Audience interactions, maybe do this with other positions we may be after. Have to brush up my abbreviation meaning. Well, I'm glad you had fun. I enjoyed it. I love interacting with the audience. I got a great audience to do it. So hell yeah. Any news on wide receiver 3? Nothing. I'll throw this at you. I'll throw this on screen. My new thing, dude. I'm just going to start screenshotting shit that I want people to see. How about that? Does that work for everybody? I'm going to start screenshotting like my tweets and my notes. I'll just throw them up there because like I can. Simple as that. So I think that's it. Well, yeah, let's do that. Nope. Congratulations, Jake. You are a moron. Okay. Wrong one. Let's see. The most recent? No, that was the right one. There we go. Okay, cool. Any news on wide receiver 3? Zaylor, I have no news on wide receiver 3, but I wanted to show you some of the findings that I had yesterday. I was using fantasy points data, and I was really having a good time just kind of going through and looking at all the analytics and stuff, and I came across this really fascinating thing that essentially breaks every theory that I've ever heard about why Mike Evans doesn't make any sense for the Rams. Mike Evans can't separate. Mike Evans is too old. Mike Evans is washed. Mike Evans wouldn't fit. Well, hate to break it to y'all, but if you think Mike Evans can't separate, I literally have a metric to tell you that that is completely not based in reality. Mike Evans is second in the NFL in route win percentage and separation score. He's only behind Devontae Adams, who I've also heard is washed, who's falling off. My biggest issue with Adams is with the drops. There's no doubt the guy can still create incredible separation. But I want you to look at something here. Keenan Allen could be an option as a big slot guy. He's done that. Jawan Jennings could be an option. Obviously, Alec Pierce, you guys know where I stand on that. But look at Romeo Doubs. 5th in the NFL in route win percentage. Romeo Doubs is creating separation. He doesn't have a true number 1 next to him. Christian Watson's always hurt. There's something about Doubs. I think my biggest issue with Doubs right now and why the Rams might not go that route is he doesn't have a ton of snaps in the slot. And I don't know how the Rams are going to operate. I would assume they're going to want to get somebody who can, work in the slot. But at the same time, They could also put him out wide and use Puka Nacua in the slot. Dobbs is a really good route runner, creates a lot of separation. He's 6'2". He can go up and high point the football. He has the wherewithal to get both feet in bounds. He can be utilized in the red zone. And also, Sean McVay's his best buddy over there in Green Bay. Give him a thing or two, some intel on Dobbs. Guys, I was asked today in the Discord to put my stamp on two guys that I think will be Rams tomorrow if they sign two guys. Now, I could be totally wrong. My gut feeling is Josh Jobe and Romeo Dobbs. That's my gut feeling right now. I think Dobbs would be a perfect fit. I think Jawan Jennings would be a perfect fit. I think Alec Pierce would be perfect. I think Jalen Naylor really helps them out. Also, there's a caveat here. The Rams don't have to not draft a receiver, and they don't have to avoid signing a receiver. At the end of the day, they can do both. There is a situation where the Rams can add a receiver via the draft and via free agency. That is certainly possible. Now, I also want to be fair. With Konate Mumfield and Xavier Smith, they were among, and of course they're not, it's minimum 200 routes, so they're not technically qualified. But before I did the minimum 200 route filter, Konate Mumfield and Xavier Smith were among the top. Konate Mumfield was top 15 in separation score. Now, I also want to add some context here. He's playing with Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. So it's going to obviously jump his score pretty high. He's going to gain separation, but it's still, I found it interesting. I think Keenan Allen, if they want to go with a Mike Evans type, they want to go with a veteran presence, but guy that's more than likely going to play in the slot and enjoy it, Keenan Allen makes sense. I think the top six right there, 100%. Rashid Shaheed, I'm not too worried about the win percentage because the win rate seems really low, but Rashid Shaheed is also somebody that was utilized a lot more in New Orleans. Seattle didn't really utilize him enough, didn't put him in great situations. They were just trying to find a way to get to use him, and so I'm not too worried about that. Shaheed would be fine. Wandale is insane. The win rate there is absolutely insane. But yeah, that's kind of my take on that. So I just wanted to show you guys, give you guys an idea that Mike Evans is in fact not washed. Keenan Allen still has it, and Romeo Dobbs might be one of the more under the radar pickups that you could find in this year's free agency class. So as we wrap this thing up, we're going to hit on the rest of the supers. Deb coming in with a tangerine. Appreciate you, Deb. Just saying, hey, also I know nothing about Job. Just love that name. So I want him. Well, I always thought he was overrated because he was on the Eagles. And then I realized the Eagles were stupid for letting him go. And he's really turned into quite the player, in Seattle. And I think he's really developed. And I don't think that's just a Seattle product. I think he's going to continue to play at that level and get better and better and better. And he's such a good tackler. Yeah, I like him a lot. So I'm definitely a big fan of Job. Every time I say Job, though, I think of Job from Arrested Development. So there's going to have to be a lot of Arrested Development Job memes during the season when he does stuff. So that'll be funny. Appreciate you, Deb. Zaylor Swift coming in with the broccoli. Kelsey is the king of 13 personnel, and we fans in the stands, jersey sales alone, gimme Dobbs. That's fair. Long This, everyone drop a W in the chat. Long This came in with the apple. Or do we want to call it an apple, a tomato? I don't know. We're going to call it an apple. So appreciate the apple here. Hundo, big fat hundo. The Seahawks seem to be going cheap on their own free agents, even with the most effective cap space. Could it be because they are being sold, so going cheap to attract an owner that is cost conscious? That is interesting. I didn't think about that. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that's not what they're doing, but, well, if that's the case, you said it first. I haven't seen this yet, but you said it first. This is a really fascinating one, and I really appreciate the super long list. This is a huge W in the chat, so much love. Thank you for the apple. Rams fan Japan, thank you for the broccoli. How to know whether McDuffie's contract is the market price for top cornerbacks versus overpaying every year. I was always stunned of the new contract values. LOL. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty damn nuts. Looking at McDuffie's contract here. So we have Spotrac had him in a 4-year, $111.4 million deal. Doesn't say how much guaranteed, but that's what they had him at. So by that, the Rams overpaid, but Spotrac is, man-made, and we don't know exactly what it's supposed to be. There isn't really a valuation that's worth talking about with over the cap because they had 7.8 per year. So I don't, that's just based on 2025. He had a down year in 2025. So the Rams aren't exactly getting a discount despite the down year. They're paying for the 2023 season and hoping he ends up being the 2023 player. The Raiders are trading for Bills veteran cornerback Teron Johnson. It's a 6. Ian, why'd you have to say that? 6-7 pick swap. Come on. You know what you're doing. Yeah, God, I hate that shit. Eagles are trying to bring back Jalen Phillips. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I guess by that nature, they overpaid. I was already it is what it is, right? And I'm excited to see what McDuffie is for the Rams because clearly they were really high on him and they wanted to make sure he was a Ram. So I think it'll probably work out. Eric, thank you for the 10. Much appreciated. And coming in with the broccoli. Thank you. Do we re-sign Roger McCreary considering Chris Shula likes him a lot? I think so. I think there's still a chance Durant comes back. I think there's a chance McCreary comes back. There's a very, 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 very small chance Kello comes back. I guess really the question is when the Rams look at their quarterback room, was McDuffie the beginning of something new, or is he just being tacked on to what they have? Is this part of something, or is this kind of a sign that this is something bigger? They're changing things. This is going to be a new defense. If this is the sign that they are going and they're changing things and they're going to do things a little bit differently from here on out, then I would not be surprised to see nobody back with the Rams in that secondary room. But who knows? I guess we'll find out. But much love, Eric. Appreciate you. All right, folks. That's going to do it. Really, really appreciate all the support tonight, especially all the supers. And then your participation was very much enjoyed. Final. Oh my goodness gracious. We got an apple right at the buzzer beater apple here. Long list. Thank you for the hundo. Huge W's in the chat. Still thinking football owners are business people. Win the Super Bowl, the value is the max, and cutting the cost makes the margin at the max. I was a businessman, and it doesn't make football sense, but it makes business sense. See Jerry Jones. No, you're absolutely right. I think it makes a lot of sense. I hate it, but I get what you're saying. And this is just, I hate it from a standpoint of overall. I'm not sitting here man, I really want Seattle to spend money. I don't care. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I definitely pick up what you're putting down. And I'll always say the business thing. You go back to the Raiders. I said this the other night. Go back to the Raiders. They have this absolute megastar in Khalil Mack, who they drafted out of Buffalo. That's 5 hours away from me in New York. They draft him out of Buffalo. He turns into a star, megastar. He's insane. And the Raiders don't want to pay him. And it's not because they cared about the salary cap. They didn't want to give him the tangible dollar. Mark Davis did not want to spend money on the player. He did not care about the salary cap. He didn't want to fork over the money. That makes me sick. And if it gets to that point where you can't bring back your guy, not because of the salary cap, but because your owner doesn't want to pay him, that owner is not fit to own a football team. So that's how I feel. But long list, really appreciate you just sneaking in there with the buzzer beater apple. 2 hundos from long list. Everybody give long list a W, another W for the road. Y'all, appreciate you. Tomorrow, it's going to be crazy. We are going to really feel the effects of it. I think tomorrow we're going to see some signings from the Rams. And I know we're going to see signings. Anybody that thinks that the legal tampering period, okay, it is not just free agency at that point, I don't know what to tell you. There's no waiting. There's deals that are already being done. Dude, it's done. Like, there's no legal tampering, okay? That shit was the entire offseason after the Super Bowl. It's so funny that the NFL tries to act like they have all sorts of these things in place and, oh, no, tampering. Dude, tampering goes on with every team. So, yeah, it's ridiculous at that point. But anyway, another buzzer beater. We got a buzzer beater broccoli. Rams up, Ian. Thank you for the 5. My guy, Ian. The film don't lie. Dean, Watson, Monteric, and Brown should be the top targets. I think the Rams will get one of them 100%. Keep killing it, bro. Appreciate you. I love the Avi there. I'm with you on that. Dean, Watson, Monteric. I think Job is also in there. They're going to get one of those guys for sure. I really feel confident in saying that. You can see what they look for, man. You see what they look for, and they care big time about tackling. And they want physicality. And I think that's what you're getting with Dean. You're getting with Watson. You're getting with Monteric Brown, and you're getting with Job. You know, that stuff matters. So anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate the buzzer beater. Here. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm really excited for what's to come. And I think it'll be a fun offseason. And we'll try and figure out how to do everything, when we'll do it. But I am planning on doing a mock draft Monday. I just need to be available to go off and then do a live stream if the Rams make a deal tomorrow night. So that's where we're at right now. But anyway, love y'all. Take care. I'll see you soon. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on your way out. And we made it, folks. Free agency starts at noon tomorrow. Let's go.